It's going. Good morning, Service Alliance community. How's everybody doing today?
Well, howdy.
Good morning, Jason.
How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing? I back in my Mo Studios.
Yeah, looks good.
So Mo/Mom Studios.
I love the flag background behind you.
Yeah, and that's
That is
metal.
nice.
That was all hand cut by a local guy. I won that in a live auction for a charity. That's been a few years ago. So yeah, one of my favorites. And
I
that thing is
remember it.
actually pretty good size. It's probably 2.5 foot wide or so. So 2.5, 3 foot wide.
Yeah,
It's a
it
big
looks cool.
fireplace behind me.
Good background.
Yeah, I miss this room. So I'm glad to have it back.
Well, we are back this week talking about something that everybody deals with, burnout.
Burnout, and not the type in your Camaro or my Mustang. We're talking about business burnout.
Can your Mustang even do a burnout? Come on.
Oh, wow. It's got 310 horse right from the factory. So my new to me Ford truck is a 2017. It's got the 5.0 in it. And I thought, okay, has it got the, what do they call it, the Coyote? No, it's not the Coyote.
No.
But it's still 385 horse. Not bad for a pickup truck. So anyway, yeah.
And not too bad.
What's your Camaro?
502.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I had a dyno and we pulled 530 out of it, and then he's like, I can do the glory pull on the dyno, we got 530 out of it, and
holy cow.
He's like, but it's not streetable.
So
he's like, you're driving this thing, I'm gonna tune it down, make it streetable. And
yeah, it's got the 6.4?
6.2.
So the 6.2, and so you've done some extra modifications to it, I take it, to get it there.
I put some headers on it. It's got open exhaust from the cat's back.
Yeah.
And then I put a cold air intake on it. That's it.
Wow.
And then I had a dyno tuned. He did 7 pulls on it on the dyno. It took like 3 hours.
Oh, that's crazy.
It was wild. Like, you want to talk about like some techie guy hooking a computer up and just tuning a car and tuning all the transmission, even like the shift points. And I was like, this is really cool. Like,
yeah,
he let me stay through the whole thing and watch how he did it and check out all the software. And it was pretty cool.
But the 6.2, that's like 400 and something, 420, 420.
426 out of
Yeah,
the
out of the factory.
factory.
So wow, you got some pretty good out of just changing a couple things.
Just bolt-ons. Yeah.
Speaking of
She shoots.
bolt-ons, I yesterday or Sunday morning I was getting ready for church, and I had a button-up shirt, and one of the buttons fell off. I'm just like, "Are you kidding me?" And then I went to grab my backpack, and the handle fell off my backpack. And I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me!" I went to go to the door, and I reached for the doorknob, and the freaking doorknob fell off of the door. I've been afraid to pee all week long, man.
I don't blame you.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, we are talking about business burnout, not vehicle burnouts. We could probably do a whole show on vehicle burnouts too. So,
just not with a Mustang.
Yeah,
I'm a little biased.
Well, I will say we are all Ford family again. So
my son has the exact Mustang that you've got.
Yeah,
you know, a convertible, and he loves it.
Mm-hmm. He'll get up a scoot. He'll scoot.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, yeah, like you said, this week we're diving into something that I think every business owner hits at some point, and that's burnout. We're going to be talking about how to move through it into a mindset of leadership, ownership, and some real business growth. So, how about we dive into it?
I think we have seasons of burnout. I don't think you hit it once and then just move on from it. I think we go through seasons.
100%, 100%. Yeah, and then we get some new tires, and we keep going.
Yeah. So let's open us up in some prayer to eliminate this burnout that we might be feeling, or somebody out there is going to get something out of this. So
yeah,
you want to open us up?
Sure. Yeah. Father God, thank you for the calling you placed on our lives as leaders, and when the weight of business wears us down, just remind us to just lean into you and your wisdom, and to rest in your strength. Help us to lead with humility, to build teams that reflect your grace, and to walk with a mindset focused on progress over perfection. And we just ask for your clarity, your courage, discipline as we steward the businesses that you've entrusted us with, and above all, let people see your love through our actions. Amen.
Amen. All righty. Let's get into some verses here. As soon
Second verse, same as the first.
Second verse, same as the first. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at a proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up."
Yeah.
So I love that verse, because if you've ever given up on anything, you'll never reap anything out of. You reap from hard work. Hard work is sowing into people, sowing into what you do, sowing into lives. And when you do that every single time, you will reap some sort of harvest. It may not be what you expect. It could be something completely different, but I strongly believe that, when you sow into others and you work hard, you gain a lot of benefits, whether it's just well-being and satisfaction, or something physical, or emotional.
Speaking of, good morning, Jojo. How you doing?
Got a couple people watching this morning. Joe's the only one chiming in so far. I'm sure everybody else will.
What am I, chopped liver?
Well, you're already here.
Oh, that's to help with YouTube and Facebook, so.
Yeah.
Hey, let's be honest here. Most of us started out our businesses with a dream, and sometimes, more often than not, it just feels like we're putting out a fire, right? I have felt it many, many times in my electrical business. And there's been a few times that I just flat out quit. I'm like, I'm done. I'm over this. And yeah, I can honestly say, even with my office help, there's been a few times it's just like, yeah, this is not what I was expecting it to be. And you think as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, everything is going to be hunky dory, and we're just going to
Yeah.
rake in the
Start
money,
a
and we're going to
business, they
serve
said.
everybody.
It'll be
Everybody's
fun,
going to
they
be
said.
happy. Yeah, no. So, what about you? What's some signs of burnout that you've personally went through or seen?
Oh, you get behind for me personally, it's just managing too much. We take on too many clients at once, or um, we hit a stress test level, like you get stress tested.
Yeah,
That's what I like to call it. We
yeah.
all get stress tested. And you ever watch what is it? Like Bar Rescue is a
Yeah,
show, all right,
yep,
where they go and they rehab the bar and they train everybody and all that. I think it's John Cafferty is the guy's name, the
yeah.
host of it. But he
That dude's
goes in there
intense.
and then he does a stress test on purpose, and he lines everybody up and just floods the bar with a lot of people. And he stress tests, their operations and the skills of all the employees
Yeah, John
and the
Taffer.
skills of the owners who are supposed to be the leaders, right?
Yeah,
So I think we all get to points where we're stress tested. And I love that show when he goes through that because it exposes their weaknesses.
hmm
And then he knows what they are and he can fix them. And I love how he goes about that. And because he needs that stress test to really know exactly what to work on the most,
yeah. You know what I
and
heard from that? Expose your weakness and figure out how to fix it. I heard that.
yeah,
That's good.
that's
That's good.
the bottom line. And I
Yeah,
think when we get stress tested, we need to, instead of getting burnt out, I think we really need to step back and just look at the big picture, because a consultant like John Cafferty on Bar Rescue can do that because he's not in it. He's outside looking in. But I think sometimes we need to take a step back and we need to look into our own business
yeah.
and see what broke down so that we can fix it.
I
But
had to put that one in the comments. That was good. That hit really hard.
yeah,
Expose your weakness. Expose you weakness. Expose your weakness. Take a breath and figure out how to fix it. I like it. That's good.
yeah, but there's a lot of signs. So
Oh,
spotting
tons of
burnout
signs.
before it spreads. Let's
Yeah,
talk about that. So, because if you can't honestly identify it or see it coming, then you're not going to be able to minimize it. You're not
yeah.
going to make corrective actions as it comes. So that's what this is all about.
I tell you, even
Trying
just
to
on
figure
a
out how to
job,
identify.
I remember sometimes on a job, I would get just physically, mentally, especially burned out trying to figure out a problem. In the electrical world, it was a lot of problem solving. And I remember I'd be in an attic at some point or under a crawl space in a house, or modular homes were always a brain thinker, and I was one of the only guys that really wanted to work on modular homes because I knew how to work on them. But I remember getting just burned out at the time trying to figure out a problem. And it's just like, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. And I would literally just go out to the truck, give me some water, give me a drink, maybe go take lunch. And then I'd come back with just a fresh little feeling and a fresh emotion on it. So even during the day, not just as a business as a whole, but even during the day, maybe you're trying to complete a task. Last night I was trying to do a video, get a video edited for a project we got getting ready to be released. And it was like, I couldn't tell you 100%. I probably look at some text messages between me and Austin, but it's probably 11:30, 12 o'clock last night. And I'm like, you know what? It's good enough for tonight. I'm going to stop tomorrow morning. I'm going to hit it back up. So about 6 o'clock this morning, I started back in on the video. Got a little frustrated with it again because I'm having a little problem with one little thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to deal with this later this afternoon because I got this to focus on with you, and I got some other things to take care of this morning. So it's going to be my afternoon project. So sometimes, even with little tasks, you just got to take a step back, take a breather, and then come back and hammer it out later. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Excuse me. All right. So how did when you've gotten to that burnout stage and you're
Mhm.
like, I'm so sick of this. I'm just sick of dealing with people. I'm sick of dealing. You got the
What? No,
all this
never.
crap coming
Stop
at
it.
you all at once, right? And you just feel overwhelmed. Some of us just get overwhelmed with it,
Yeah,
and you don't know how to prioritize things. You're fatigued.
you're
You got all the
overwhelmed.
frustration. You're literally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
What are the steps that you can do to stop yourself so that you
Mm.
can logically think through things? Because I find that that's the only way that I can do it
Yeah.
personally. How do you
Uh,
deal with it?
I'm big on lists. So in my office, in the office, uh, I'm big on whiteboards. So, and I'm a physical whiteboard. I got to have a whiteboard in front of me to my side that has my task, right? You can use ClickUp, you can use Slack list, you can do everything. I'm a whiteboard guy, right? So when I moved into back into the studio here, I'm like, uh, Austin and I were going over some stuff the other day, and I'm like, I need a whiteboard. I need a whiteboard. So I have a huge sliding glass door right here. That's gonna be my whiteboard until I actually get a whiteboard in here. So yeah. So I'm a list
That'll
guy,
work.
right? What's the old stop, start? What's the other part to that? So you got a stop list, a do list, or keep doing list. I forgot what that one was, but get your list together. That's me. I'm a list guy. What about you?
I have many lists. I mean, we've got project management systems with checklists and things like that
Yeah.
to keep us on track. But then I've got personal lists. If you saw my desk right now, you'd be like, damn, he's got a lot of lists,
Yeah.
because I got checklist papers everywhere. And every once in a while, I have to grab all those different papers and then just rewrite them on a more condensed list. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I've got like five of those.
Mhm.
I'm like a list junkie.
It's a really cool one
And
right here.
there you go.
Nice little plug for Service Works.
Yeah. So I write lists down and then, cross everything off, check it off, make notes. And
Yeah.
then I end up having papers everywhere. So I have to redo them, and reorganize them because things change or priorities change.
So, what about
And
putting all that stuff in digitally? Do you use ClickUp or Slack list or anything like that?
we're actually in the process of changing to ClickUp.
Yeah.
We've got another project management system that's I've been using it for probably about 6 years now,
What is
and
that one?
it's oh my gosh,
That's okay.
I
Shayna loves
forgot the name
ClickUp,
of it. It's like a
like
self-hosted
Trello
one.
or something like that. Okay.
No, it's not a SaaS product. It's a self-hosted one that we have on our own servers that we've modified and
Ah,
kind
cool.
of
Yeah.
tweaked it and customized it. But we've just outgrown it,
Yeah.
and there's newer stuff on the market that's better. But Trello is a great one for basic task lists,
Yeah.
and
We started out
that
with that.
that Kanban board type of a drag and drop process, I guess.
What
I love
I,
that.
a simplified version, especially if you're a contractor that's out in the field. Shayna really likes ClickUp. Um, I don't know. There's different ways of checklists. In your CRM that you have, I know a lot of CRMs have built-in checklists that you can incorporate with it.
Right.
So, but I think for your everyday business stuff as a business owner, it's different.
Yeah.
Having something like ClickUp or, I mean, shoot, a lot of old guys. I hate to say old guys because that puts me in there, but I mean, I'm 46. Not that I'm super old, but they say 45 is the new 50s. So, but anyway, a lot of us guys, there we go. We're still liking the pen and paper, the wall boards, but you got to
Yeah.
figure
I
out
like
what works for you, I guess is the bottom line. Find out what works for you and use it.
sometimes I find that digitally writing all this stuff, putting it all in digital format,
Hmm.
it's I guess it's easy to change and edit,
Yeah.
but if it's not in your face unless you're
Yeah.
logged in to that
Yeah.
system, right? So that's the challenge.
Another thing, Shayna, she purchased one of those remarkable pads, and the entire team actually uses it now. And so everything is in one thing. So it's a little bit of both, right? It's pen and paper, but it's digital.
Right.
So so the cool thing is like Shane will use it for his one-on-ones with the team. So he's our team success coach. Heather will use it for her one-on-ones with our clients. So she's the client success coach. But so, and each of them have folders. Those folders get put in Remarkable, and so their handwriting gets transcribed into actual text, which is really cool. So that could be
Right.
another way. And you best of both worlds if you're in between, you know.
Yeah, I've known a lot of other people that have the Remarkable tablets, and they love them. So
You know,
I think
another
I'm gonna get one.
good tip on this part is use the phrase "Who can do this instead of me?" Start delegating. You know, especially when you're that one man truck shop, or if you got one or two guys, you got a lot of tasks on your plate, right? So who can do this instead of me, or what automations can I use to do this to free up my time? You know, when I moved into the software that we're using now called Mom, social media. It takes me about 1 to 3 hours to plan out my entire week of social media now. So what used to take me a day, sometimes a couple days, is now taking me 1 to 3 hours a week. So find things that's going to simplify your life. Delegate things that are, eh, go back to the phones. Why do you need to be answering your own phones? Go out there, change those compressors, put in that new electrical panel, change out the heating system, do what you do best. Hey, and let somebody else do the rest. Answer your phones. Website. Why the heck are you designing your own website? You know, you're going to save maybe a little bit of money, probably not, because in the long run, instead of being out there doing what you're supposed to be doing, making money, you can be having Mike build your website for you at a fraction of the cost. I guarantee it's going to be less money. So find something that somebody else can do that you're doing and delegate it.
Yeah, Zach called me yesterday, and for Service Alliance Group, we were talking about, some manual task stuff that we've got to do.
Yeah.
And we just started talking like, hey, we got to automate this. There's got to be a way to automate this. Like,
Yeah.
how can we leverage technology, AI, some other system to even if it's multiple systems bolted together or daisy chained or whatever you want to call it. How can we use technology to streamline this and make it faster and better and take that off our plate? That might I guess be a lot more work up front. Okay. Like we were talking, like this is going to be an expense, some monthly subscriptions or whatever, but it's cheaper than hiring somebody. It's cheaper than us spending our time on it, because how much time is your time actually, how valuable is an hour of your time?
Yeah.
And if you're spending an hour on something, how much of that hour could be spent doing something else even more productive and making you money, and you could be working on growing your business. So I think you need to strongly evaluate when you spend your time on something, whether it's valuable.
Yeah.
And a lot of us do invaluable tasks.
Oh,
and
what do we?
we may like doing them. It's not that they're bad. Oh yeah, that's a rabbit hole devil. In my opinion, those phones.
Facebook, their reels their algorithm has changed over the last month or something, and I kid you not,
it's crazy.
It's crazy how much of a rabbit hole the reels are now.
I've
Same
noticed
thing with
that.
TikTok, that's just a time suck.
Squirrel traps.
Yeah,
I
will say,
squirrel trap.
I will say there are sometimes I just need a mind break.
Yeah.
And having those reels to scroll through, I find motivation, I find humor, I find something I can share with my wife, I find something that I can laugh about. Sometimes it's a good thing, but you need to set a timer.
Yeah.
and be like, all
Oh,
right,
yeah, that's just it.
yeah, set a
My
timer. I'm
wife
going to
sent
take
me
5
something
minutes.
yesterday. She's like, "Did you see the reel I sent you?" And I said, "No, I literally ignored all
Yeah.
social media today, and I have not looked at my phone." And this was like 8 o'clock last night.
We were talking, what was it, last Monday? You were talking about time blocks and putting in time blocks. I think this
Yes,
would be a good place to talk about time blocking.
absolutely. I mean, I do that more now than I've ever done it before
Mhm.
because there's there's certain things on my schedule that I will block time off for because it's important,
Yeah.
right? And I've got meetings set up all day long, every single day. But if something else is more important than me having a meeting with somebody, because they're curious, about building a website or doing marketing, but I know I need to set this time aside for my business to work on this and nothing but that, I
Yeah.
put it on my calendar and
Yeah.
no one else can talk to me during that time. Not my employees, nobody. I tell my employees see a block time, they know I'm not available.
So, an example, like pick one thing that's costing you a lot of time, a lot of stress, and you need to write an SOP for it. Block off 30 minutes, block off an hour of your day, shut your phone off, let everybody know, put it on your calendar, whatever you need to do. Hey, for this 1 hour, I am just unreachable. Phone's
Yep.
off, people's off, and I'm going to dive into creating this SOP. The Service Alliance Group mastermind members have a lot of that stuff at their fingertips. Gonna
Yeah.
put a plug in right there for you. But so use tech to help. Simple CRMs or automation tools, Chat GPT. I mean, there's so many different things out there to help you, with writing these things. So, challenge for you next week, starting today. Take 1 hour to time block something that's been frustrating you, stressing you out. Maybe it's inventory. Maybe it's payroll. I don't know what it is that's stressing you out, but take just 1 hour, do what we said, time block that time out. Nobody bothers you. So, what's something that you've done in the last 2 days? Today's Tuesday. What's something you did yesterday, Mike? Because I know you use this like every day.
I usually Monday, Tuesdays are my busiest days of the week.
Mhm.
So I don't have much time to work and really think about anything except for what I have to get done for my clients, right? So Monday and Tuesdays I'm 100% focused on that. But Thursdays is usually later in the week. Things things start to free up a little bit, less
Mhm.
pressure. But Thursdays, first thing in the morning, my 8 o'clock, I've got an hour blocked off, and it's a brainstorming session.
There you go.
And that's what I put it in the calendar as, brainstorming session. And I use that time for specifically brainstorming how what challenges we're having, what how we can improve, and I literally just use it just for that.
Hmm.
And it's how to make things better.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a customer thing. It could be, something new that I want to implement, but I'm using that as an evaluation time
There you go.
to brainstorm, evaluate solutions, figure out what the next steps are, figure out, okay, we had this problem this week. Is that a recurring problem, or, is it a one time thing? And if it's a recurring problem, how do we make sure it never happens again? Or how do we minimize the chances of it happening?
Yeah.
Um, what SOPs do we need to update? What SOPs do we need to create? So I don't actually create any of that stuff during that time, but that's when I'm making my lists, and that's when I'm doing all this evaluation of my business and brainstorming what our next steps are, and then I organize all that. But I do that every single week, and it takes me a good hour. Sometimes it takes me an hour and a half if I have time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's only half an hour, and then I move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
but at least I've got an hour blocked off. And I do it first thing in the morning because I've got a fresh perspective. No one's pissed me off during the day yet. No
Yet.
situations have I guess creeped into my head that are throwing me off task. I've got no squirrels yet. I'm thinking more clearly. So I do that the first thing in the morning.
Squirrels
And
don't
I
happen.
found that to be I've tried to do it in the middle of the day or the end of the day. It's just too much. And that way, as soon as that's done, then I can move on and deal with the day.
Yeah.
I've found that very helpful. What have you been doing?
Oh, one of my biggest issues, and it kind of leads us into our next area, is that I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So I want everything to be perfect. And so I have to take a step back sometimes and accept that 98% perfect is okay. That 80% perfect is okay. I'm gonna put this in here because I think this is a great.
I had a friend who was a professor at Harvard University, and we were having a discussion just like this, and she leans over the table and she says, "Mike, if there's one piece of advice that I can give you is perfect is never done."
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And I mean, she told me that 2 decades ago, and it stuck with me because she was so right. Perfect is never done. If you're wanting perfection, then don't aim for excellence and perfection. Yeah. It's never going to get there.
Pop this saying up in here real quick. I love this one. Perfection is the enemy of momentum. Leadership is about growth, not getting it all right. I've made many mistakes of trying to make things perfect, and it ends up going just the opposite, and it's horrible. So I've got a goal for you guys this week, a task. Set a 1% better, just 1% better goal for the week. Track what you improve, no matter how small. So creating that new SOP on inventory, because that one always seems to be an appliance issue. Every appliance owner I talk to is, man, inventory is really of a pain. Tracking that inventory, ordering inventory. All right. So set a 1% better goal for the week, right? What are you going to do today that's going to get you 1% improve? That's it, 1%. That could be as simple as just having a conversation with your appliance supply shop. Hey, thought I'd give you a buzz, Saul, whoever your appliance. I was about to say Reggie. Reggie ain't with Encompass anymore. But yeah, so get with Marcone, Encompass, Tribbles, whoever your supply parts store is, and just start a conversation. That's 1%. Just starting a conversation is 1%. That's all it takes. But from that, I guarantee you'll see something bigger happen than just 1%. So that's my task for you this week. 1%.
I like your other comment here. Expose your weakness, take a breath, and figure out how to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what's a past mistake, Mike, that you've had that you learned from?
So many.
Too perfect. Because I mean, you are such a perfect guy,
You know what? My dad always had a saying, strive for excellence. Mm-hmm. And early on in my youth and early 20s and stuff, I really, really, really held by that. And I was really hard on myself. And I had my boss even came up to me. She's like, why are you you're like hard on yourself, like way too much. And I would beat myself up like you wouldn't believe. And she's like, you're putting way too much of an expectation on yourself. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking back to what my dad used to say with the strive for excellence and everything. And then one day I was sitting just thinking about that. I'm, just thinking about the way I was and like my goals and all this stuff. And I was like, and my dad was already gone at that time. And I thought to myself, man, Dad, you were that was the worst advice you could have ever given me. You know, it sounds great,
Oh, wow.
but it put an unnecessary expectation in my mind, you
Yeah.
know, that was unreachable.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I can strive for excellence, but it made me think that I have to reach it.
Yeah.
And I was always disappointed in myself. And I struggled with that a lot because I was like, I never felt like I ever reached it. Right. It's like, how do you know that you've made it?
Yeah.
You know, and you never make it ever. And you're just a cog in the wheel sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's draining, but it's the way the world goes around. Right.
Yeah.
But you have, so I put my focus more on interactions and trying to help people.
Yeah.
And I found much more satisfaction in that, and focus from striving for excellence and doing everything in the whole perfection thing of it. And then now it's helping people.
Yeah.
You know, in whatever skills I have at the moment. You know, I've done many different things in my life, and this is what I'm good at right now. This is what I'm going to use to help other people.
Helping people help people.
Yeah. Well, when I shifted my mindset to that, I found much more satisfaction, and I found more joy in it.
Ooh, that's good.
And it motivated me to get better at my craft so that I could help people more.
Oh, I see a soundbite coming out of this little clip right here. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, that's just my personal experience.
So find the joy in what you do, and the burnout will probably cease to exist.
It doesn't cease to exist for me, but
I was trying to plug that, get that in there.
It does minimize it. And I do, even when I have that frustration, I still have joy in what I do. And I have to remind myself, you know what, you're mad, you're frustrated, or you feel like you failed at succeeding and pleasing somebody or whatever the case may be. But I still have joy in what I do. And it motivates me to keep moving forward and doing better and better. So hopefully somebody can take something away from that. And, you know, God gave me a brain, and I just do my best to use it and figure out how to use it for people. That's all.
Well, I know our time is drawing nigh. And hey, before you play poker much?
Not much.
Not much? Well,
because I'm not good at it.
Okay. So, well, marriage is like a deck of cards, Mike. Marriage is like a deck of cards. At the start, all you need is 2 hearts and a diamond. And by the end, you're looking for a club and a spade.
Or she is.
She is. Oh, wow. Hey, I went blurry. What happened there?
Yeah.
Hi. Welcome back.
Now you're back in focus.
That was awkward. Hey, anyway, it's been a great show. If you liked what you, anything, even a little tidbit, just the 1%. If you liked even just the 1%, be sure to share, like, subscribe to Service Alliance Group, Alliance Marketing Pros, My Office Help, and pay the fee. It's a small fee. It's free. We got a mastermind coming up this weekend, it looks like.
We do. May 17th is sales negotiation. Zach is going to teach you how to negotiate better.
This should be a good one.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a good one. All access members, you got access to it for free. And that's about it.
That's about it.
And we'll see you next week. What are we talking about next week? We're talking about scaling next week.
Scaling, like the scales, like whenever you have dry skin?
Yes, dry skin scales. All right, we'll end it there.
There you go.
You guys have a great week.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead and get out there, book some time on your calendar, and figure out how to brainstorm for your business.
Freeze frame.
Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Grind podcast by Service Alliance Group. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you visit our website at servicealliancegroup.com for appliance repair business resources.